That's my ass!
Who's driving?
Silver 9!
What? Crap car!
Additional.
Use the boots to get...
No, no, no!
Huh? What the f?
Hello again, everyone. This is Bionic Slime. I'm your online voice for reviews of your choice, and this is another installment of BS Reviews. Today, we'll be taking a look at a angelic holy action film that comes right off the heels of another holy-esque film, The Book of Eli, though let's hope that this movie turns out at least a little bit better than Book of Eli did, at least for my taste's sake. Talk about the movie Legion. Legion is brought to you by Bold Films, and it was directed by Scott Stewart, who also co-wrote the film along with Peter Schnick. It stars Paul Bettany as Michael, Lucas Black as Jeep Hansen, Tyrese Gibson as Kyle Williams, Adrianne Palicki as Charlie, Charles S. Dutton as Percy Walker, Willa Holland as Audrey Anderson, Dennis Quaid as Bob Hansen, and Kevin Durand as Gabriel. The plot of Legion. Legion takes place in a 2-bit shithole little diner that's located smack dab in the middle of sandy, desert-filled Nowheresville. We meet a young waitress known as Charlie who is 8 months pregnant. The father of her child pretty much skipped out of town before she could realize it, and she was left with nothing. So a father and son duo who run at the local diner, Jeep and Bob Hansen, decide to put Charlie up for board and take care of her, primarily because they felt sorry for her and because Jeep has deep feelings for Charlie, even though it doesn't seem that she returns those feelings. It's another typical day at the diner until they are attacked by an old woman who turns into a spider-like, creepy-ass freak show monster who tries to kill Charlie and her child. They soon find out this is the beginning of a huge slew of problems when a man known as Michael comes there with a shitload of guns, claiming to be a fallen angel who is trying to protect them from God's wrath. God is fed up with humanity turning his planet and paradise into a crap hole, so he decided to exterminate the human race by sending a slew of angels who will possess the weak-minded people of Earth and turn them into monster servants in order to kill Charlie and her child. Michael claims that Charlie's child is the key to mankind's salvation, and so arming the other patrons in the diner with weapons such as Audrey Anderson, a young girl with her 2 parents, Percy Walker, the diner's chef, and Kyle Williams, who's desperately trying to get home to his son and try and survive until the child is born and mankind can be saved. Review the plot. It was kind of difficult to try and explain this plot because, in truth, it's very weird when you say it out loud. I mean, the whole idea of actually claiming that God is actually sending angels instead of Satan sending demons to kill you sounds a bit ludicrous, and I don't think anyone expected to take this plot too extremely seriously, judging by how the effects look. And I think that's one of the problems that people are constantly associated with this film, is that the effects are poor. This film story does borrow a lot of similar elements from other films. It does seem a lot like Feast or Evil Dead, a bunch of people trapped in a small little cabin or restaurant fighting off forces of darkness. And it also seems kind of like Terminator, how this one lone superhuman has come back to protect this child's birth. But what I give Legion credit for is that despite the facts that the story does seem similar and the effects, I admit, are a bit choppy, it managed to tell a actually deep, moving moral message story without worrying too much about using special effects or trying to be totally outrageous. I mean, it's true, this movie does seem similar to others, but it really works strength through quality actors that are put into the film and in this situation, and somehow they just seem to make it work. It's hard to explain. This movie really needs to be seen to understand how it actually works, because even though it's a similar setup, somehow they find a way to make it work here. I mean, again, like Evil Dead, there is humor in this film as well as action. And I was kind of surprised that there was so much action in this film and not so much as on horror. But either way, I give them really good credit for managing to tell this actually deep and intense story. They managed to do that with a cheap, moderate budget and a story that we think we've all seen before, but we really haven't. So I guess what I'm trying to say here with Legion is that don't judge it by its effects and take a deeper look at what the morals and message are, because I think that's where the film really lies in its strength. Because the message that they give here such as with the angels, why God is doing this, and what's the point of living, future of mankind. They really put into perspective that I don't think even the most sophisticated special effect movies have accomplished yet. Review the characters. As I said, we got a pretty good solid cast. It's full of actors you're like, I think I've seen that person somewhere before, but I don't remember when. Kind of like that. Paul Bettany definitely is the scene stealer here. I mean, he was perfectly cast. I know it seems like he's being religiously locked into these holy roles. I mean, from the killer in Da Vinci Code, and he's in a new vampire movie called Priest, where he's playing a priest. But it really works for him, and he really manages to sell this role very well. Every line that comes out of him sounds convincing, effective, and well delivered. He's a very talented actor who really knows how to give a good performance. Lucas Black was all right as Jeep Hansen. He had some good moments, but other times he just seemed kind of bland, so he really didn't do as good a job as I'd hoped to be. He's kind of a balance. I mean, ups and downs. There are good moments with him, and there are bad moments with him. Tyrese Gibson was very downplayed here. I thought he was much better in the Transformers films and much more interesting here. He did have an interesting story, but they didn't really flesh it out as much to make it as compelling. I mean, he did a good job, but I've seen him do better work. Adrianne Palicki as Charlie, she was good. She was, again, all right. She was okay, nothing grand, nothing bad. She was good for what we needed her. Sufficient is the best word, I guess, to put her. I really like Charles S. Dutton, who I have seen before. He had a relatively minor role in this film, but he was good. I mean, he played off some really emotional scenes, and I think he really put forth a lot more effort than I think the other actors did. I liked him in here, and it seems weird that you'd think a minor character would stick out to you that much, but this guy definitely did. Same with Dennis Quaid. Dennis Quaid has been stuck in a lot of weird random projects, from this to G.I. Joe to Pandorum, but again, he did a really good job here. I think I kind of like him better in these weirder, more science fiction-y roles. Kevin Durand as Gabriel was good. I actually didn't believe it at first, but that's the Blob from X-Men Origins Wolverine, and he was very good, very compelling, very deep. He's definitely got a very creepy, imposing presence and voice. Willa Holland as Audrey Anderson was all right. I think she was mostly there just for eye candy, and that place, I guess she did a good job. Overall, you got a mix of good and average performances. Review the cinematography and music. Music was really, really good. I love dark, apocalyptic, holy themes. I mean, it just makes for such good momentum. It makes for the visuals to seem so much better, so much more intense, and it especially works with all the really, really frequent action scenes. I mean, there's a lot in here. There's so much shooting and killing, and it's amazing that they got away with so much with just a moderate budget in that, especially with the special effects. And they do come off quite creepy, these angel-possessed people. The cinematography also really worked well in this film's favor, even though this whole thing is supposed to be an apocalyptic thriller, and it's just maintained this one little bar. They still make it seem that much more imposing and creepy. The visuals of the sky filling up with things and the creatures coming out of their cars and that, they managed to make it look so imposing. It's just this little confined area, and that's actually quite impressive if you really think about it, that you can maintain an apocalyptic film within just a small confines of this little bar. They've done it in other films like War of the Worlds and Signs, but I felt they did a better job here with it. Flaws about the film. As I said, I'm not going to lie to you, the effects do look kind of cheap. They're nothing really spectacular, but to me, they weren't that distracting that I can't enjoy this movie. One of my biggest problems, though, was just that it kind of falls too much into the cliche horror genre towards the end, when how they dispose of some of the characters. Some of these body counts could have been done much more effectively if they had the proper gore effects. And again, it just felt like they borrowed a little too many other story elements from other films. Final wrap-up, Legion is not the horrendous piece of CGI crap people are making it out to be. I think people are bitching way too much about the special effects and are being far too jaded to appreciate the good value this film does have. Yes, I admit it, the effects are choppy, they're not that great, they didn't use all of their actors effectively, and towards the end it does kind of fall into several or more film horror cliches, but overall I think the message of this film really stands out, and it's an important one to learn. I was really impressed with Paul Bettany. I thought he had an excellent performance in here. I think the story was much better than people give it credit for. I loved Charles S. Dutton. And Dennis Quaid in here, I think they fit perfectly in. Really good action scenes. I was quite impressed with what they were able to accomplish with this film, with the low budget, good music, good cinematography. Overall, this film was good. I don't think it's as bad as everyone's making it out to be, and I pray you guys don't take all these negative reviews too much to heart and just judge the movie for yourself. Bottom line, I give Legion 3 stars out of 5 stars. Well, that's all for now. This has been Bionic Slime for BS Reviews. Thank you all for listening, and goodbye for now.